a comprehensive look at trends, fund profiles, and more in Exploring ETFs.
Financial ETFs is what we're going to talk about now with our ETF strategist, Eric Dutram. And you've got some interesting statistics, information to share with us about financial ETFs, the overall space.
That's right.
And individual products, too.
That's true. We've seen a lot of financial ETFs hit the market lately, and it's a very popular space for investors. We've got insurance products, regional banks, community banks, basically any way you can slice and dice the financial space. There's an ETF for it right now.
Okay.
And there's actually almost 36 products out there in the space. Trading. We used to at least have Brazil funds, and there's a European financial ETF out there. So a lot of choices out there, but investors always seem to prefer one choice in particular, right. XLF. That's this Spider Select Sector fund, and this actually has a very sizable amount of the assets in the space.
That's from State Street.
That's right. It's their Spider product. And it's basically the king of financial ETFs, has more than half of the assets in the space, which is, they have about $17 billion of the roughly $34 billion in the segment.
That's what I found interesting.
Yeah, investors have really gravitated towards this product, and I think part of the reason is it's just so much older than the rest of the funds out there. And granted, in the ETF world, old isn't that old. The product was launched in 1998.
Yeah.
But compared to a lot of the other products out there, this is has some longevity behind it, a lot of tradability, and you get very broad exposure, as we see on the slide right here. Banks make up about a third of the exposure, and then some of your top holdings are among the most popular financial companies out there: Berkshire Hathaway, J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo.
But the State Street product, though, even though it's popular, you say some are still growing disillusioned with the product.
I think so.
Why?
Well, part of the reason here is the product has both real estate and financial services. And for a while, this wasn't really very important. No one really cared that much, when interest rates were moving in a very flat direction and moving south for the most part. But now that we have all this talk about rate hikes and other worries like that, there's a lot of concerns, I think, among investors who maybe they don't want the real estate component in their fund, and that is something that XLF does have. It's about 15 to 20% of the portfolio.
Okay.
But some investors, they just might want to focus in on real estate. They believe that rates are going to stay low for a long period of time,
right.
And they might want to just concentrate on that segment. And it's tough to do if it only makes up about 20% of your financial investment.
Well, we're sitting here talking on Wednesday, October the 21st. I guess we'll find out the direction of rates, if there is one, to the upside next week.
That's right.
At the Fed meeting that's going to take place. Meantime, tell us about these new ETF products that you want to talk about, XLFS being one of them.
That's
what
right.
does that stand for?
It's the Spider Financial Services Fund. And
okay.
They launched this one and then the real estate one, which we're going to talk about in a minute, to try and give investors more options, in the space to, either focus on the financial services, which can benefit from higher rates for the most part, or the real estate, which will benefit from lower rates. So for the services, banks again count for about 36% of the assets. You get a lot of the same top holdings, but you don't have that real estate component, so you're going to be a little more concentrated in names like J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo, et cetera. You do have mortgage real estate investment trusts, but that's kind of the only real estate investment trust that's going to be in this product. Otherwise, it's going to be banks and capital market companies, names like that.
All right. Then the real estate one, XLRE, the ticker, right?
That's right. XLRE is as you said, the real estate version. Simon Property Group's the top holding here. Then we got American Tower. These are both the two biggest holdings. As we know, the real estate segment is much smaller than the overall financial space. As we said, it only makes about 20% of XLF. So you get much fewer holdings. You're going to be a little more concentrated. But if you just want to focus on the real estate market in a from a sector spider point of view, now you have an option with XLRE.
All right, and then you've got a head-to-head comparison of these two?
These three, actually.
Oh, okay.
Just so everyone can see some of the main differences here. If we look on this chart, as you can see, XLF has by far the most assets, but XLFS and XLRE, they both launched earlier in this month of October. So they haven't really had the same chance to build up assets. As we can see, the yield is kind of a key distinction here. Real estate has the highest yield, as we probably might expect. Financial services, the lowest. And then if we look at the total number of holdings, the real estate one has a very low amount compared to the other two on this list. So you can kind of think of XLF as a, sort of like a hybrid between these two newly launched products. But if you're looking for more specialized, choices, you definitely have them now. It's really a question of what you think is going to happen with rates. XLFS is probably going to do a little better when rates, if they do
go up,
if they do rise, and then if we continue to see a hold off in the rates, the XLRE is going to be probably a better choice, just because it has that higher yield, and these real estate companies tend to benefit from lower rates.
All right, I think we got all that. Do you own any of these?
I do not.
All right, I had to ask that. If you want more information on ETFs, we have it for you on our website, Zacks.com. All you need to do is go to the ETF section of that website. Eric writes other articles. ETF research director Nina Misha writes other articles, as do other folks on the team. So to get there, you go to the homepage at Zacks.com, use the Funds tab at the top toolbar, and link to it, all from there. If you're watching these videos, by the way, on YouTube, don't forget you can always subscribe to them there and comment on them. Feedback's always welcome. In the meantime, with Eric, I'm Terry Ruffalo.